Hello everyone, if you guys are new here, my name is Cassandra. I'm the witch, author, poet, and performer of Magic of Eden. Welcome to your new sacred space, if you decide to stay here. And if you're just passing through, that's okay. Welcome, and I hope that you decide to stay. And if you guys are returning, hey fam, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We are going to be diving into the full moon in Capricorn, which is happening on July 21st, 2024 at 6:18 a.m. And that is actually when I have the chart pulled. And so I want to go ahead to take a moment to dive in. I'm going to go ahead and light some incense really quickly here. So full moons are usually very loud, right? They are culminations of what was set in motion during the new moon phases. So the seeds that we planted during the new moon phases usually are sprouting and or have grown during the full moon phases. Now, full moons are very loud. They're in your face. They sometimes bring energies that were secretive and quiet and dormant. They usually bring those things to the surface. And sometimes, depending on what energy we're working with, they are very explosive. And they can really amplify or expose the things that are within us. They bring out our inner world, our inner ways of being, and they express them and bring them out to the forefront. So whatever you are, your innermost being is usually exposed and or amplified during that time. For example, if you are someone who deals with, depression, or if you're sad or whatever you're feeling, it can be amplified by the full moon energy. And it really does help to highlight, what different changes need to be made for your emotional stability, for your emotional well-being, especially because moon energy, lunar energy, is dealing with the waters, it's dealing with Cancer, it's dealing with the emotional body. Now, this full lunation is happening in the sign of Capricorn, and I feel like I want to kind of give you guys a little bit of info on Capricorn, right? For those of you guys that don't really know. Now, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Capricorn is a very practical sign. It wants to do things, it's very cardinal. It wants to do things in a very practical way. It wants structure, it wants stability. It deals with our career, our work, our public lives, especially because it rules the 10th house in astrology. Now, I want to say that with Capricorn being ruled by Saturn, at the time of the full moon, it wants us to really focus and dive into what we are obtaining in our careers, and it really wants us to really put forth the effort and work towards the things that we want to see in our lives, right? Now, Capricorn also it is a very responsible sign, so it deals with responsibility, it deals with how we govern ourselves, especially because it's ruled by Saturn. It deals with foundations and things of that matter. Now, this is happening in the sign of Cancer. Now, Cancer is the nurturer of the zodiac. It is the divine mother of the zodiac. Cancer shows us or highlights how we want to be nurtured, how we nurture. It deals with family dealings, private matters, family life, and things of that nature, emotional well-being, emotional stability, and things of that nature. Now, at the time of the full moon, I'm noticing that there's going to be an opposition of the full moon and the sun being in Cancer. Now, this lunation is so amazing because it's happening at 29th degree, and also the sun in Cancer is at the 29th degree, which to me brings about this, mature energy. So I feel that at the time of the full moon, as it pertains to our own personal lives, this really does highlight the fact that, or it shows us where we need balance between our work life and also our home life. And I really do feel that, especially with this lunation happening in the 6th house in its final degree, it's the energy where it shows us how much we've learned, what we've learned, and how we can show up in our relationships, how we can show up for ourselves, and the things that we do day to day that supports or take away from the emotional stability, the emotional nurturing, and the home and family life. And so I really do feel that at the time of the full moon, this is our way, or this is our time to really express the things that we've learned in order to support ourselves at home and also to support ourselves in our public life. life. So I also do feel like, because this is such mature energy, I really do want to say that it's really going to take us, being mature and really allowing ourselves to act on what we know and the wisdom that we've gained along the way. Because Cancer is also a cardinal sign. It wants to go out of its way to care for, to nurture, others, right? And so sometimes when we are doing so many things in our personal lives, or when we're doing so many things in our public life or in our careers, sometimes we can be a bit negligent, from our families and from the people that we care about, not on purpose, but because we're trying to provide. And so sometimes when we're dealing with Cancer energy, we can become negligent to our career, to our work life, when we are trying so hard to focus on what we have going on at home. And the thing about this full moon is that there are some things that will be revealed. And what I see us doing is really putting the energy and the wisdom and the time into bringing these things again to a balance, to ensure that we're thriving in both of these elements. Also, one thing that I'm picking up on too is that what we learn in our home and private life can be applied to our public life and vice versa. So during the full moon in Capricorn, with the sun being in its final degrees in Cancer, we say, okay, I now know how to nurture my, let's just say mother, or nurture my daughter or son or whatever, or my partner. I now know how to be more emotionally understanding. I know how to be more emotionally responsible, as it pertains to my own emotional feelings. I know how I am now more aware of my habits where I felt, attached, where I lacked responsibility, individuality, and I can take this and implement it into my work life where I am more aware of the emotions of others. I now see the reason why my coworkers or the people that work for me are acting this way. Maybe I can use this cardinal energy in order to help them and to lead them and know that they are taken care of and that they are safe in this space. And that they are safe with me and working with me and things of that nature. And also, at the time of the full moon, of course, when we're dealing with Capricorn energy, it's like, okay, this is where I know that I'm responsible. This is where my gifts are. This is where my talents are. This is where I, have structure. If I can take this energy and structure and help and, structure my family, this can help them to make them feel more supported. So you see how this divine dance happens between the two, even though they're opposites, they use their own individual energy and they bring them together to make the best of the situation. So at the time of the full moon, what I do see is that you're learning how to work with the energies, not against it, and merge these two different factors in order to not only help yourself, but also help your family dynamic. Also, with the full moon being in Capricorn, this is a time where we are starting to learn how imperative it is to have our affairs together. So at the time of the full moon, people are setting their intentions for a more stable home life, for a more stable career, and also doing what they have to do behind the scenes to ensure that all of their things are in order. Assets, family assets and things of that nature. This has everything to do with estates. This has everything to do with getting your trust together, your foreign trust, your EINs, your family inheritances, getting those assets protected by putting them in your trust. All of these different elements dealing with government and you governing yourself and your family are going to be a highlight. And as the system crumbles and falls down, we see how important it is to have, your family matters taken care of and, having your estates together and things of that nature. I see people who are in their elder years, writing their wills or, writing out their wills and adding things to the will, taking things out. I'm hearing the word irrevocable trusts. I see making those final edits to those trusts and things of that nature and really going about moving as far as the business aspect is concerned, moving a bit differently and learning more, different things because what you do in business ultimately can support what you're doing in your home and family life. So I do see those things happening at the time of the full moon in Capricorn. Now, what I also want to bring to our attention is that at the time of the full moon, we're going to have 3 planets in retrograde, being Saturn, Pluto, and Neptune. Mercury is in its pre-shadow period. And of course, this is happening in the sign of, they're not happening in the sign of Cancer, but this is happening during Cancer season. Okay. Now, what I want to say is that also Chiron is in its pre-shadow period as well. even though Chiron is technically an asteroid, it is, hanging with the big dogs because it deals with healing and things of that nature. So this is definitely a time where we're starting to learn, to revamp, and to do things differently in order to build a better life for ourselves, and in order to restructure and set better foundations that are going to support us in the long run. That is definitely what I'm seeing happening at the time of the full moon in Capricorn. Now, of course, you guys know that I do have my notes. Now, I want to bring our attention to the fact that one thing that I do see happening here is that Mercury is in Leo in the second house. Before I get directly into that, I want to bring my attention to Mars conjunct Uranus. Mars is the planet that rules aggression, war, rage, passion, sex. It rules weapons, it rules explosives, and it rules all of those energies, fighting and things of that nature, car accidents, head injuries, all those different elements. Also, Uranus is the planet that deals with the unexpected. It deals with revolt. It deals with uprisings. It deals with uncertainty. It deals with all of those different elements. Now, when you have someone who is hot-headed as Mars, teaming up or being so close to Uranus in a way kind of acts as that energy that says, hey, you're going to let this happen? This is what's going on. Like, are you going to let that slide? Like, what's going on? And for whatever, I feel for whatever reason that there's the word that's coming through right now, it's instigation, where there's going to be these energies kind of instigating and picking at you or picking at this part of you that wants to just fight. Now, the fact that Mars is making a trine to Pluto, this can be really problematic because as these things are being instigated, it can make you kind of act on how you feel deep inside. So the things that you're holding on to, the things that are being revealed to you, sometimes it makes you want to react. And the fact that Mercury is at play here, squaring off with these two, it also brings up these talks of violence. It brings up threats. It brings up these different things that you think about, the way that you communicate. You may come off a bit fiery, or this energy can be, again, problematic because it's things dealing with aggression, right? So you may say things in a more aggressive way, or there may be, talks about war or fighting happening. And because there are so many things being communicated, and also because of what is being communicated, it can be very problematic. It can bring about a fight, depending on what you say. Others may be sensitive, others may be feeling in their feels. And if you are not guided by higher wisdom, I do see fights happening. I do see unexpected text messages coming in, unexpected feelings, unexpected actions happening. I do see, a revelation of how people really feel coming out, and the things that are happening, the things that are being said, the actions are going to have long lasting effects on your life. I would be very careful as to what you say, how you say it, who you're talking to, and I will also be very careful as to how I choose to act during this time, because the moon is in Capricorn, which deals with longevity. There's a lot of things that you can say or do that are going to have a very long lasting impact on your life. Now, the way that this is on a macroscopic level is I do feel that in politics, there's going to be lots of talks about, to me, what I'm picking up on is that, and I don't mean to scare anybody, please understand that I'm not here to scare anyone. I'm not here to incite fear or anything like that. But there are, there's a lot of drama happening, especially with Mercury being in Leo. Leo can be a very dramatic sign. It deals with drama. It deals with play. It deals with joy, pleasure. It deals with ego, right? It deals with, how we choose to show up as in terms of our ego and things of that nature. It deals with all of that because it's ruled by the sun. So I do see that, some of these leaders or some things, in government may be exposed at that time. And there is a lot of drama that's going to be happening, especially with the waking up of the planet, especially with all these humanitarian efforts happening between people, the waking up of, our consciousness, our collective. There's going to be a lot more smoke and mirrors being shown here. And also there's going to be more things happening at that time that's going to try to distract you in order to keep you dormant, and also to keep you away from helping the greater good and, leaning on yourself and leaning on your own gifts and your own talents. I really do feel that at that time, especially with the transits happening, it really does feel that at that time, it's going to be more distractions to, again, keep you asleep. And I'm hearing the word desperation. So it's almost kind of like these energies or these powers that be are desperate to keep you hindered, to keep you fearful. And please understand that there's a lot of things that are going to be revealed as a hoax. I'm hearing the word hoax. I see lots of hoaxes happening. I see different elements, you know, as it pertains to, you know, things being faked. I really do feel that they're faking things right now, you guys. Like, they are trying their absolute hardest. And I'm hearing the word zombies. Like, it's really going to create this distinguish from the people who are quote unquote awakened and also those who are quote unquote zombies. There's going to be this, you know, distinguishing, and people are going to start seeing, you know, things for what they are, especially as revelations are revealed through your dreams, right? You know, the moon conjunct Pluto here, and also with Pluto sextile, looks like it's sextiling Neptune here. Let me fact check that really quickly. And yep, Pluto sextile Neptune and the moon, you know, conjunct or sitting conjunct Pluto. Yeah, that's energy where revelations are definitely being revealed, and we can actually use that to help us moving forward. But anyways, I want to go ahead and kind of backtrack and talk about a little bit about Mars and this other energy. So again, on a microscopic level, I would be really careful as to how I say things, who I talk to, because depending on what's being said and how it's being said, it really can cause a fight. It can cause a breakup. It can, especially in our friend groups, you know, when there are things that we feel that we value and others may not be in alignment with that. And, you know, anything can be said. People are going to be very sensitive, especially, and also, again, the truth about how people are, their behaviors that they don't normally portray on the, you know, on the everyday is going to start being revealed at that time as well. Now, what's going to help us during this time is knowing how imperative it is to move with not only integrity, but also move with maturity, because this chart is screaming maturity. This chart is screaming wisdom, and this chart is screaming elder-like energy. And if we allow ourselves to move with this higher energy and move with this higher mind and move with higher wisdom, then we can rest assured that these conversations can definitely flow more smoothly. Now with Chiron and Mercury making a beautiful trine here, these conversations that we're having can definitely lead to healing, and we can talk about the things that, you know, have hurt us in the past, and we can talk about things that made us feel certain ways in the past. And this, you know, space that we're in at the time of the full moon can really help us to be advocates for ourselves and help us to really stand up for ourselves and show and share where we have been hurt. And when we allow ourselves to let these things go, and when we work our magic, and when we do the things that we need to do to let these things go, I really do see breakthroughs happening as it pertains to all aspects and all areas of your life. Sometimes what happens is that we get so hung up on the things that we don't have, the lacks, the hurts, and the pains, that it creates too much resistance and too many blockages, to where the things that we want to see manifest in our lives can't manifest because there's so many blockages. And once you've blocked one thing, it ultimately affects everything else. So I do see these conversations being had about healing around every aspect of your life. And when you speak up, and when you speak with integrity, you speak with passion, and when you speak with higher wisdom, I do see you guys breaking through these obstacles that we did not believe that we had, or that we believe that we couldn't. So that's definitely going to be some things happening at the time of the full moon. And this is us really being able to show the higher aspect of ourselves. And that is the best way that I feel to work with these energies. Okay. Now, I want you to be mindful of, again, I don't know why, but I'm seeing people cursing somebody out. I'm seeing just more like radical behavior. I'm seeing changes in behavior, unexpected changes in behavior, especially with Mars conjunct Uranus this way. Because Uranus isn't an earth sign, I really do feel like this is, I don't know why I'm picking up on like something like exploding or some type of earthquake. This could be figurative. Really be careful with who you're around. Really be careful with how you're doing things, because again, they can have a really long lasting impact. But I am hearing something about explosives and something about earthquakes. Again, this could be very figurative. Apply it as it's needed. Okay. Also, what I want to mention here is that the North Node, or the True Node, is actually sitting in the sign of Aries as well. I want you to remember where you're headed. I want you to remember where you're going. Right now, you are in a space where you are reshaping your life. And at the time of the full moon, you will see what you need to do and act on in order to make this life the best yet. So really moving from a space of maturity and higher understanding is going to help us during the time of the full moon. All right. Also, emotions are going to be high at that time. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit and go back to the moon sitting opposite of the sun in Capricorn, the sun in Cancer. I want you to really take your time and really bask and celebrate how far you've come and what you've been through along your journey and all the milestones that you've hit along this way. How have you felt over the past couple of years? How have you felt during this time in your life? And what all have you achieved, whether small or big? It's relative. Think about the accomplishments that you did make and just really bask in how far you've made it. Check in, do you need a tune-up? What tune-ups do you need? Your cardiovascular system, how is that going? Your bone health, how is that going? Nurturing your bone health, you know what I mean? I'm hearing the word osteoporosis, healing from that with, certain foods and really intaking the things that you need in order to heal the body, right? And to be at home in your body, and you taking things out of your literal home space that are clogging, your energy up, and also taking things out of your diet so that you can move, so that the energy within your body can move more efficiently. This looks like fasting. This looks like you eating more holistic foods and things of that nature. I really want you to remember all of those things, especially because the full moon, this lunation, beautiful lunation, is happening in the 6th house. Our day-to-day routines, how we nurture, how we take care of ourselves and our body and our rituals and things like that, and how they will have a long-lasting impact. I see that if you haven't been taking care of your body, that's going to be shown during the full moon. If you have been taking care of your body, then it will thank you. I want you guys to also remember that, okay? Now, moving forward, I want to talk about this beautiful Sun Trine Neptune here. I do feel that with the Sun being in its final degrees, with this, emotional maturity, this, higher understanding of our emotions and things like that, this can definitely make us feel a bit more empathetic, which can help, us convey, the messages that we need in order to bring healing and foster in healing and things like that with other people. If we allow ourselves actually to be more compassionate and be more empathetic in these conversations, we can actually gain a lot more clarity and prevent these different fights that have the potential to occur. There is a major possibility, and I do see those things happening if you are being selfish in your communicative dealings. I want you to remember that the power of compassion can go a very long way. And the reason is because when you are compassionate, you are putting yourself in a space where you are understanding the other person, and when you have compassion, you can then truly express and be in joy and be in companionship with this other person to such a degree where you can move in unison with one another. And that is the power of compassion, because it does have a way of really enlightening you and making you more aware of others that are around you. And when you have compassion, it can ultimately help bring in healing in ways in which you didn't even know. It can definitely foster in miracles. And the beautiful thing about miracles is that they are just simply manifestations that we did not know could possibly exist, because our logical minds are limited as to what it can think, right? So also I want to say that too is let's try not jumping to conclusions. Let's just let what's going to happen without us trying to calculate things, because when you try to calculate it, then that's when things can hit the fan. Okay. I really, really, really do want to mention that. Now, another thing I want to mention is this Jupiter square Saturn happening here. Now, Jupiter is a spiritual teacher of the planets, and Jupiter deals with expansion. It deals with blessings. It deals with, higher consciousness, higher learning. And it also, he teaches you through joy, through compassion, and it's the guru, it's the sage, it's the Buddha of the planets, right? Now, Saturn, on the other hand, teaches you through restriction, because Saturn is a father figure, but also a spiritual teacher of the planets. Now, again, he does teach us through restriction. He teaches us through limitation, through boundaries, and through responsibility and taking action and doing the things that we need to do. So I do feel like with Saturn being retrograde in Pisces and also with Jupiter being in Gemini, what I feel is happening is that this is definitely a call for wisdom, because this is also helping you to understand what your limits are, and it's helping you to balance between enjoyment and responsibility. And I really do feel that with Saturn being a responsible planet, or being the planet of responsibility, and with Jupiter being more jovial and more high vibrational and wanting to enjoy, it really does have a way of letting you know and reminding you the power of you enjoying the process of building and allowing these energies and what you're doing to expand your consciousness. And so with Jupiter square Saturn, this shows you that you can enjoy the process of building, and it also helps you to navigate your pessimism and these sudden highs of energy and these sudden highs of ideas. And I want you to remember that the beauty of these two squaring off is that you have the capacity to implement both of these energies. Even though it's a square, for some of you guys with this square, it's going to look like you having like these really great, amazing ideas and you having these high bursts of energy, and then you feeling as though, well, I don't have the capacity to actually make that a reality. What am I thinking? I'm delusional and things like that. Instead, especially with Saturn being in a sign of Pisces and he's retrograde, this is one of those things where we can say, you know what? At one point, this was my limitation, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my greatest hopes and wishes. I'm going to enact on that, and I'm going to ground myself to ensure that I can do what I can do in order to make those things a reality. I'm not going to allow myself to be chained to these old thoughts and habits and ideas that tell me that I am not worthy of these things, that I cannot do these things. And instead, I'm going to act with wisdom, and I'm going to forgive myself, and I'm also going to allow myself to do the things that I possibly can do, showcase my gifts and my talents so that I can make my dreams a reality. But it's going to take emotional responsibility. It's going to take me being honest about how I feel. And it's also going to take me being honest about the things that I truly do want to see in this world, in this realm. And it's a matter of you taking these ideas from this ethereal space and you bringing them down by being practical about it, by understanding, okay, especially because Saturn being in the 9th house, retrograde in Pisces, okay, these are these different thoughts and ideas that I do have. Let me do the work that I need to do right now to bring these and make these things possible and to make these things real, right? It's taking all my greatest hopes and wishes. It's taking your greatest hopes and wishes and making sure that we do the work in order to make those things a reality. That is what they're teaching us right now. There's so much elder-like wisdom in here. What have you learned? Where are you going? Where are you headed? How are you going to do this time? What are you going to do differently? Those are all beautiful things that are happening. Now, for those of you guys at the time of the full moon that are setting your intention for business, I 100% would. I would simply set my intention, work my ritual magic behind the scenes, and write those things down for those of you guys that haven't. And also, I do see at the time of the full moon resources being brought to you. There's a beautiful trine between, there's a beautiful trine happening in the chart that I'm seeing happening in Earth, and Earth deals with resources. I do feel that when you step out there and do something different that you're not used to doing, part of fortune and Aquarius, I do see that when you allow yourself to do things differently and you allow yourself to really be rooted and grounded in your authenticity and you being authentic, that is what's going to bring these different resources and people to you that are going to help you along your journey. Now, speaking of being helped along your journey, I do see you have a conversation with someone who has been there and done that in order to help you get ahead on what you're calling in, because this chart is so rooted and so filled up with this beautiful elder-like energy. Shout out to the elders that came to me in my dream the other night or the other day or the other rising. Because this chart is so filled up with elder-like energy, there's this need for us to have a conversation with people who have come before us to help us out during this time. Talk to someone that you're not used to talking to, or talk to someone who has been there, done that. Talk to someone respectfully and with humility that has come before you that you see, is doing what you're doing or doing what you want to do, and they've done it already. What tips and pointers can you take from them in order to help you in this time of your life right now? Or if you're not someone that is going to people to talk, maybe you are the elder that can give wisdom to these other people that want to do something similar to what you're doing. And understanding that although we do have our similarities in the way that we do things, it does not mean that people are trying to copy you. It does not mean that people are trying to be like you. It just means that you are a representation of what they see themselves doing, and you are a representation of what they are capable of. Have grace, have compassion, share your knowledge, share your wisdom. Spirit is asking you to not gatekeep with the people that after using your discernment, have their best interest at heart and also has humanity's best interest at heart. This is a time for you to be more mature and for you to step into this other space of elderhood, because now what I'm hearing is that you are passing the torch to someone else, and for others of you, the torch is being passed on to you because you are stepping up as the next leader in your family. You are stepping up as the next leader in the world. You are stepping up as someone who has higher wisdom, and now it is your time to shine. Those are some very beautiful things that I do see happening here. And I want you to remember that at the end of the day, we are headed towards this space where more cardinal-like energy is needed from us. Venus here is sextiling Jupiter. So I feel like this energy for me is all about showing up in a way that is, graceful, that is beautiful, life of the party kind of energy, kind of vibe. This vibe kind of brings me like this. It's like this beautiful dance. And I'm seeing like ballroom themes here. I'm seeing, parties being thrown. I'm hearing something about the Renaissance. I don't know why that's coming through, but it's just this enjoyment. And I think the reason why Renaissance is coming through is because the Renaissance was a period where people were going through so many things, and we, especially melanated people, needed to, especially like during like the roaring 20s was coming through too, is that music, dance, and play, these were things that helped us heal and get through these really tumultuous and heavy times and changing times. And I really do feel that with that comes this need to just simply connect and see the best, in people. And I do feel that us, with Venus sextiling Jupiter, this can also bring about us seeing the best in people and also us seeing the best within ourselves. Now, there also is a big X happening in the chart, which I see that Jupiter is making an opposition to the vertex point, and also Neptune looks like it's making an opposition to Lilith. Now, with this X happening here, this big X factor, as I want to call it, makes me feel that there are so many things that are being released right now that are, it's letting go of this baggage. It's really being put in these situations, or being in these situations where we are becoming enlightened and we are breaking away or becoming disenchanted of the illusion or the delusion that we are not worthy. And the more that we tell ourselves that we are worthy, and the more things that we let go of, the more that we unpack, the more that we allow ourselves to empty out this baggage, it will make the process of release easier, and it also leaves room for us to bring more things in. So what I'm hearing is that for on Saturday, for you guys, before you do your ritual on Sunday, I'm hearing for some of you guys to actually do a clearing, a cord cutting, and even a purge and banishing ritual. Now, for those of you guys that do want to set your intention working with this full moon in Capricorn, remember, we're dealing with legacy here. We're dealing with things that are long lasting. We're dealing with things that are, we're dealing with longevity. Your ritual should reflect what you want to bring into your life that is going to be long lasting. And those energies that were affecting you, affecting your life, affecting your legacy, I'm hearing Spirit say to cut the attachments, because, with the sun being in its final degrees of Cancer anyway, this has everything to do with us being shown where we were dependent and us allowing ourselves to be independent now. And so at that time, what I'm hearing is that it's time to cut the cord with these old habits, with these old people, the people that are coming up in your lives from the past right now. Hey, this is not a time for you to welcome in these old energies unless they have changed, and unless Spirit says yes. The answer is no, because what you're doing is you're headed towards something that is going to be more beneficial to you, your career, to your family, to whatever, all these different aspects of your life. I see so many beautiful things being born here in this chart. I see, new babies being had. I see new love coming in for some people. If you're already in a relationship, I do see this sense of newness. I do see you showing up for your partner in a different way, in a way that's beneficial, that promotes growth and expansion for you too, or for however many of you there are. I do see marriage happening for some people, talks of marriage. I see talks of commitment. And I also see people breaking away from things that once was in order to get to a space where they welcome in the things that are actually for them. I see lots of breaking aways and lots of entering, opening, and walking into those doors, letting go of these habits. I see lots of healing happening, therapy happening, right? Especially with Chiron and the sign of Aries, advocating for your healing. I 100% do see that happening, especially with, Mercury making this beautiful Trine to Chiron. This to me is having the conversation, therapeutic sessions, right? And with the full moon being a Capricorn, I see lots of Reiki healing being done. I really do see you guys having these well-needed conversations, getting your family's affairs together, really working on restructuring your foundation so that it supports not only yourself, but the collective, your career, your family, all of those different things. I see you getting your affairs together. I see you getting your family affairs together. I see you initiating change with this beautiful trine happening in the fire. This is, ignited passion, us returning to our passions, us being able to move with wisdom as as we progress and move toward our passions, and also realizing that the journey is the truth. It's the meat of everything. The destination will always be the destination, but we can always change up what we're doing and how we're doing it in order to reach the destination, with ease. And I really do feel that there also is this new need again to enjoy ourselves in the process and also give credit where it is due. Those are all things that I see happening at the time of the full moon. I would, stay home and work my intentions. I would not be hanging out at that time. If I do, I would really be working with, my protection amulets, protection oils, protection candles. As you go out, be very, very careful because, road rage and, people cursing you out behind the wheel could be really triggering, or you may accidentally cut somebody off, they may get pissed off at you, get out the car, and try to do whatever. I don't wish that for you. I would just say, I would work my magic around protection on Saturday as well as releasing and things of that nature, because again, things can be just, it can be something. Oh my goodness. What am I missing? What am I missing? All right. So yeah, you guys, I thank you for the time that we spent here. I guess I'll go ahead and pull some cards maybe. And I'm also going to be doing a reading, in our next video. Oh, wow. Look at that. I love this. Ooh, whoa. Okay. We have the Sun card here. We have the Justice card. All right, Spirit. Oh, wow. Okay. We have Eight of Pentacles. We have the Hierophant, Nine of Wands reverse, Ten of Cups reverse, Three of Swords reverse. We have the Devil reverse. Yeah, this really does feel like doing the work and doing what we need to do in order, and switching up our routines and things of that nature in order to, bring the things that we want, of course. I also do feel that with the Three of Swords here, with the Ten of Cups, I really do feel that for some of you guys, you're really being called to redefine what makes you feel more fulfilled at home, and you doing the work to release all these different, the pain that you experience. This is you shifting your mindset from more negative feelings and vibes to the more positive feelings and vibes, or the more favorable, and understanding that not all things are negative. You are not here to suffer. You are here to learn. You are here to grow. You are here to evolve, and you can enjoy yourself in the process. I want to remind you of that. The Devil card here showing up shows you what you're attaching yourself to, what you're committing yourself to, and also what you need to break away from, what you need to let go of, and where you need to move in order to make space for healthier things to come into your life. If you are being tempted by anything, is this something, if it's tempting you, then more than likely, I don't want to say more than likely, but if it's tempting you, think about why is it tempting you? Is this, is this forbidden thing something that you want to experience? Is this the universe saying that it wants to experience it through you? Or is this temptation, just kind of showing up to see if you're gonna regress or not? I really would use my discernment with that. So I feel and I see this Devil card here as an invitation to really align yourself and attach and commit commit yourself to things that are actually going to help you not only explore, but also that are meant for you to experience in this life to help you along your journey, help you, not hinder you. Make sure that what you are dealing with is helping you and not hindering you, not chaining you up. This is about freedom. This is about power. This is about you being and shining a light on your greatest gifts, your greatest talents, and your own individuality, your own uniqueness. And I do feel that for those of you guys that are moving from a space of higher wisdom and moving from a space of maturity, you will have success. Set your intentions, do the work one step at a time. Make sure you're taking your time. And also, the bottom of the deck, we have the Magician card here. You are shifting, moving realities, okay? Be mature, okay? Last thing that I'll say is that for those of you guys that are, heavily ruled by Capricorn, myself, I have a ninth house stellium in the sign of Capricorn. And I was born on a Saturn day. I'm the oldest grandchild, the oldest sibling on my dad's side, of course. And I'm the oldest sibling on my mom's side as well. So I carry myself a lot of, elder-like energy. So anyone that has a lot of elder-like energy, I relate to you. And sometimes, we are called to just step up and be leaders in ways that we didn't think or believe that we possibly could. And this is definitely, your time to shine. This is you to show up and share your wisdom. This is you, reflecting on all the wisdom that you've had and implementing that into your life moving forward. Thank you guys so much for spending time with me here today. It has been lovely. It has been a pleasure. And I really do hope that you guys have learned something here with me today. I hope that this helps you. And I really do hope that you guys just, have a beautiful, safe, abundance full moon in Capricorn. If you guys need anything from me, you guys can visit me online at CassandraTurner.com. I recently changed my website. I do have some goodies that you guys can work with. If you guys want to take a look at those on my online shop, I'm going to be doing more content around, how to set intention, how to work with your oils and things of that nature, and all those good things. That way you can know if you don't, and also get other perspectives from other people like myself. And yes, you guys can visit me there, and you guys can visit me on my Instagram and walk home with me over at Magic of Eden, where you will see posts about my poetry, witchcraft, astrology, and readings and guided messages. Until then, I will see you all in my next video.